Good evening, televiewers. You're welcome to this edition of Prime Hour, the last for this week. We, as tradition demands, are going to be looking at financial and economic issues touching on our lives as Cameroonians, as Africans, and as members of the global economy. This evening, we are looking at the importance of producing and consuming home products, and also we're going to be looking at what it would take to boost the consumption of those things that are produced in Kambe, in Boya, in Kumba, in Douala, and what we will need to do to attract Cameroonians to consume what we are producing. We are very, very sorry for the late start of today's edition of the program. We are, however, going to be discussing with our regular panelists who are already in the house. Mr. BUJI, LEANCINE is in the house with us to talk about these two topics. Good evening and welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Leo. Good evening, televiewers. It's Friday again, and we are here to share with you some important tips on how we can move our economy ahead, on how we can move Africa. We have a continent to build, and every hand has to be extended so that we can move our economy ahead, we can move our continent ahead, and we have a lot to share. So if you are tuned in, just stay glued to your screen, take your notebook, and be ready to contribute as usual.
Okay. We're also in the company of Mr. NEBA Paul, proud ambassador for Audacity of Success. Good evening and welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Leo. You can say that again. Proud ambassador, yes. I'm so concerned about today's topic. I must tell you that because I am an advocate for consumption of home products. As you know, I always put on Marford designs not because I like it so much, it's because it's produced right here in Cameroon, and that's my own way of contributing to the consumption of home products. And I really want to make Cameroonians, Africans to understand the need for us to consume home products and the effect on the economy. So today is my day.
Okay, I'm also putting on Marford designs, proudly produced here in Cameroon, in Mabanda in Bonaberi. Marford Designs, good evening. Hello, we're glad to have you. We're also in the company of Miss MUNJAH SHIRLEY MUNJUH. She is an accountant and an author, also host to the TV program, The Shirley Show. Shelma Show. Yes, working out there in Ghana, you're in Cameroon. We're glad to have you with us.
Thank you so much. It's really a privilege to be here, and I'm really glad to be in the presence of this amazing panel. And I can say working with entrepreneurs has really been amazing, because I see the amazing things that these young people are doing in Cameroon. And I think that is just a must for us to actually put our hands on deck to support them. So I'm glad to be here today.
Okay, Miss L is supposed to take part in the program today via Skype from the Southwest region. Miss L, good evening and welcome. Miss L, seemingly we have technical issues getting to her. I'll start with you, Mr. BUJI. We're starting late. People actually aware, do they take the pains to understand why they must consume what is produced back home? Do you think that we have that awareness?
Mr. Leo, I don't think we have the consciousness that we have to eat what is ours, wear what is ours, and definitely wherever we need resources and we have them, we are supposed to actually go for them first. That's a consciousness that is not in the Cameroon society, to be particular, though they are in some cultures that you will definitely see that the Bamilikis are trying enough to make that a practice amongst them, but it's not yet extended to other parts of Cameroon. It's not yet extended to other parts of Africa. That's why you look at it. I always look at economies like China. If they had to move ahead, in some days, China was described as, they were actually developing just almost the same pace that Cameroon is in. If you look at the way they took to almost overtake the United States of America, these things happen because they realized that if they were to move ahead, they need to first of all give priority to their own products. They need to be their authors, be their music, everything became, they give importance to it. And if you do that, you are definitely going to grow as a country, you're going to grow as a continent. But we live in times that if somebody is sick, they will want to go to India for a specialist. If somebody wants to have a party, everything eaten there is imported, though there are people around us that can produce things that are of high quality and definitely at affordable prices than even the things that are imported with custom duties. So for me, it's an issue of consciousness. It's not about if these other things are better than what is here, because if the moment we start patronizing these products, we start showing that we need them, and we give demands as consumers, they're definitely going to work on their quality.
Okay, Mr. NEBA Paul, why don't we think as Cameroonians that we must support what is produced in Cameroon?
I think it goes with self-image. You know, we don't see ourselves worthy enough to be anything. So since we don't see ourselves that way, we don't also see our brothers who are of the same image like us to produce something that we can consume. Over time, education somehow has made us to think that what we are producing is not really good. If you want to look at it from the angle of the textbooks that most of us consume nowadays, maybe now today most books are Cameroonian books. Most of the novels that we read were not, you know, painting that image of us understanding our society and raising that awareness that we should be able to consume what is produced here. So much so that at one point in time, since we see ourselves like a lower human being sometimes in quote, we think that to consume foreign makes us very important, or maybe we see foreign products to be prestigious. So for us to segment ourselves to show our prestigious status in the society, we basically go for foreign products, of which in the real sense, if you have to look at the economic impact of us consuming foreign, it really weakens us as a country, as a continent, because if you are eating from a neighbor spot, I don't think you can always be sure of having a meal, or you can even have a voice of your own, because you know that at every point in time, if you have to raise your finger or raise your voice, you might not have the opportunity to be able to have something to eat. But now programs like this have come up and topics like this are being discussed so that we can come to the awareness to see the reason why we should consume home products, Cameroonian products, African products, because looking at the economic factor is going to, of course, boost our economy, and as well make you and I who are producing home products to be able to have liquidity, to be able to buy other things that we also need. Because take for example, the marvel designs that we are all putting on, just imagine if there were 1,000 Cameroonians who are conscious to consume her products, it means that she's going to have more money in her pocket. She'll be able to send her children to better schools. She'll be able to maybe help some other people in the society. You know, so the multiplier effect of consuming home products is very big. But now the consciousness, as Mr. BUJI earlier said, is lacking, and that's why we are here today. And I am really calling on viewers to give their own contributions, because this topic is very, very pertinent. Because if you want to look at the economic balance of us and other countries, you see that somehow we consume things that we have here, and then our own things we disregard them. And then at the end of the day, we are always a weaker, you know, the weaker economic power, because our bargain at the level of economic forums is very low. But through this, I believe that we are getting the consciousness to understand that consuming our own is giving power to our own selves. And of course, several African countries are talking about emergence today, and that emergence can only take place if we understand that everything is around consumption, and your consciousness to be able to consume your own is what is going to give that economic power. I noticed something with the Chinese. I worked with the Chinese sometime. I noticed that Chinese in Cameroon are not using WhatsApp. You understand? They're using WeChat. It caught my attention, like, because I told him I want to send him something through WhatsApp. He said no, he doesn't use WhatsApp. Therefore, they have risen to that consciousness that even as they are out of the country, they are still consuming products of their own country. But we Cameroonians, we Africans, we are in Africa, but I don't know how we tend to think that, okay, we're consuming foreign products, we are maybe superior to our fellow brothers and sisters. It's some kind of unnecessary, I don't know whether it should be brand wash or brainwash that we have to keep it aside and really see the need, and that's the only way that we can start being self-empowered and, of course, start reaching a particular standard, not to talk of emerging in the nearest future.
Okay. Ms. Shirley, do you think there is need to educate Cameroonians, Africans as a whole, on the need to promote, consume what is produced back home?
100%, I do think so. Because when you even look at the number of jobs that can be created as a result of consuming your own local products. Today, when I was looking at some statistics, like back in the country, when you look at a country like Ghana, in 2020, the startups brought in over around $111 million. So $1 million into the country. This actually is very possible when we start consuming. If we start consuming our own products, you see that it's very possible for us to attract foreign investors. And if we start attracting foreign investors, if you look at the number of goods that we import into the country, this affects our economy. Because as I earlier mentioned about jobs, job creations, where are the jobs going to be created? Where are the jobs? How are we going to create jobs? We have a lot of youths today that leave and go out of the country because they are looking for jobs. This is because we are not able to patronize the things that are being produced in our country. So if we start patronizing the things that are produced in our own country, then we'll even see that this is going to encourage the guys in the diaspora to come back home and actually live with us, live in our country. And if these guys, if we patronize the things that we are producing in our own country, then obviously we'll have to pay more taxes. And actually the government will make money. If the government makes money, then indirectly we are going to have better roads. We are actually going to be helping also the poor farmers, maybe in the southwest region, to have better roads and have better access to the market. So it goes a long way, actually, if you look at the importance of actually consuming local products. There are so many things that you can actually look at when it comes to consuming local products.
Yeah, but these are things that are known in secondary schools. We are taught this now.
Exactly.
Yes, but do we think that the government needs to put a policy in place that should move down to explain these things that you are saying now to the people, to understand that if you consume homemade products, you are helping the economy grow, you are also increasing the possibility for more jobs to be created?
Yes, I think so. So I'll still mention Ghana anyway, because maybe I live in Ghana. So for instance, in their schools today, right, they have kind of like a department of herbal medicine. It's in the university. Like they encourage. So for instance, I went to the dermatologist of recent. When I went to the dermatologist, the first product that the lady gave me, I checked it, because anyway, I'm just fond of that. I checked it. And almost every product that the lady gave me was made in Ghana. And I was so impressed because the packaging was amazing. So this is because of the orientation that they give to the youths around, you know. This actually starts from school. And I'll give you like one common example, because at times we actually look at maybe the small things and we might not really understand the implication of the small things. It's kind of like when you even have your children in school, there are some parents that will not even want their kids to actually even speak the local language.
The dialect.
The dialect, exactly. So it actually starts from there. What are you teaching the child? You're indirectly telling the child that, okay, the English language is more powerful than your own language. Indirectly, it's this, you're kind of like indirectly just making the child understand that, okay, the English language is superior to my own language. So when the child grows up also and sees products from a foreign land, then the child also believes that, oh, if the English language is better than my own dialect, then obviously the products that actually come from these countries will somehow also be better than my own product. So I really think that it's not just about, when we talk about the government, let's not forget that we are the government. Right, actually, so the people also, so we should also, like when we have opportunities of actually educating, like let me say young people, when we go to the supermarket, let's be able to go and pick our own products and be proud of it, you know, so actually use these products. But at the same time too, I also want to encourage entrepreneurs to also be able to, because the finishing say, like what you wear, the finishing is amazing, you know, because sometimes so when you look at the finishing of, we don't also, like, let me say, take so much concentrate, we don't put a lot of focus on the finishing of our own products, because let's not forget that visual aspect, the branding part of also the goods, right? So let's not also forget the finishing. So let's make our products competitive also in the market. So much so that if I enter a supermarket, I look at the foreign product and I look at the Cameroonian product, put at par, I should be able to go and choose maybe a Cameroonian product.
Okay. Mr. BUJI, where does this start? Availability of what people need. Yes, home industries also need we need to increase production now, because if we cannot even provide for our markets, then there's no need for us to encourage people to consume. So it should start with our capacity to produce.
Yes, Mr. Leo, since the first stage starts with awareness, we need to be aware that we have to support our fellow entrepreneurs, startups and the rest, and we need to give them some time. We need to make sure that at least you watch the progress over time. I want to take the case of Tex Global, where we are at our 5th year today. When Tex Global started, after following the trends that Africa's food importation kept increasing. In 2002, Africa's food importation was $7 billion US. As of 2010, it was, because of the food crisis at that time, you had $40 billion US as in importation. As we're talking from the United Nations Conference on Trade in 2018, the statistics shows that Africa, it's importing, it's a steady rise. It went back to $35 billion US of importation of Africa's food production, given it that Africa imports 85% of its food. You can imagine a continent that is full, it's blessed with lands, the tropical soils, everything is good in Africa. Now I started asking questions that, why is it so? Why would people prefer to eat Chinese rice rather than eat the rice that is grown in Dop, rather than eat the rice that is grown in the highland rice in Cameroon? It all starts from the issue of us making our choices, us making our preferences. Now, a company like Tex Global, look at it, and because one of our goals is, according to predictions by the United Nations, it shows that by 2025, Africa's food importation is going to go to $110 billion US. And then, we said we are not going to be consumers at this stage, but we want to be producers. We have to get this part of this 110 billion has to be enjoyed by Tex Global, which we will then share to the community. That is the effect that is going to we're going to give back to our community. Now the issue is, most of the people, because they did not know, they believe that what is coming from us Cameroonians is not going to, we cannot go anywhere. And for that talk, when Tex Global was still a baby, the first moment say, if this ideology is a Cameroonian ideology, it's going to die. Tex Global reached its first 6 months, the story, they will not reach 1 year. Definitely, we are the 5th year today. However, there is a total mind change, which I appreciate so much in Cameroon. Our investors are doing great, because they are actually, they said, despite the fact that most of these initiatives, they don't believe a good can actually come from us, the Cameroonians, the Africans, but they gave it the benefit of the doubt, and they are pushing it. So that is the type of atmosphere, that's the type of mindset that we have, so that we can be able to move ahead. I always say anywhere that there's one thing that I'm guilty about, which is the fact that I have promoted companies from other nations at the detriment of Cameroon, at the detriment of Africa, because I contributed in shipping billions out of the country. And so with this awareness, I will definitely encourage Cameroonians, let us push, let's promote our own products, let's promote our own industry, and definitely we want them to do great finishing, but they need money to do great finishing, which means that we need to be conscious of the fact that they are not good, but definitely they can become the best. Let's not be the first to be criticizing them. let's look it from an angle of a baby. When a baby falls, what happens is that the caretaker, the parents, even us in the community, we always say, there's always an encouragement. You don't tell the baby that you cannot walk. Because what happens is that we do more criticism. We do more of the condemnation. Oh, they did not do this finishing well. They did not, in fact, the production lacked this, the production lacked this. And definitely we dump that company that is definitely going to rescue us in future. Because if we are able to promote these industries, it will happen that there will be circulation. The money that is generated will circulate back to us. And if money is flowing in an economy, if the money doesn't move out of the country, it means that it's within the country and it's definitely going to circulate and get back to you, no matter the business that you are doing. If our resources are shared within us, it shows that in a very short period of time, we are going to go far. But until that stage reach, we have to take a conscious decision that we are going to promote our products, our industries, and we are definitely not going to be talking them down. Criticize, but criticize constructively, not with the aim of discouraging these young entrepreneurs out of the dream to make a continent better, to make a country better.
Okay, Mr. BUJI Paul, but we are talking about the need to consume products that are produced out here, but we also need to look at the quality of what is presented to the population. Huh?
Yes.
People have to look at the quality, but unfortunately, some people think that anything that comes from the West is necessarily better than what is produced back here. Which is not true.
That's the mindset we have. That's the superior and the minority. The superior and mindset that we have. That we think that something that is coming from the foreign country is better, and what we have here is not really good. So we shouldn't consume it. Which is, I think, is somehow the West has intentionally played this into our minds, to have it that way through their movies, through the TV, through the radio, through the internet. You know, they have done this intentionally to place themselves above us, and we have believed, and that's why we are going that way. I don't really blame our people for that. I don't blame because at one point in time I wasn't really conscious that this thing like this, if two things come on the table, I should be able to choose this for this reason. It's very challenging for young entrepreneurs to actually emerge now in Africa and Cameroon. Why? Because Africans, Cameroonians have tested really good products too. We must appreciate that some of the foreign products are really good. And for you to emerge and find these products as somebody, I mean, if you give somebody something that is sweet and then give something that is less sweet, the person will quickly identify it and will want to stay and continue consuming that sweet thing. But it doesn't change the fact that we can consciously encourage these young entrepreneurs by consuming theirs. Why? I don't know, why tapping them on the back, why petting them, why encouraging them that someday they can obviously become the best. And it also plays on the side of the entrepreneurs, you know, because some of them might want to hit high profits and produce low quality products, and then at the end of the day, they don't win the trust of Cameroonians, they don't win the trust of Africans, and in the long run, it becomes difficult for them to penetrate still, because Cameroonians or Africans will intentionally stay away from their products. Yes, but on a scale, in most cases, we also notice that especially consumables that come from the West, they are full of chemicals. Meanwhile, we have products here that we
have organic stuff here back here.
Yes, we have stuff that are grown at the backyard. I mean, we grow up. Most of us who grew up with grandparents, we know that they were very strong. Most of their food, they were cooking it and stirring it in the pot with their hands, and they had to live very long. But today we are dying as often as possible because we think that shawarma is better than cassava. You know, that mentality is playing a lot on us. But now I think people are also gaining consciousness that they are hurt first, and consuming something that you even know the process of production is better than getting something that is you know, coming from somewhere where you don't know how and where it was produced. And of course, that's to say the place of Taste Global is coming in because they have seen this gap, and they are pushing in to make sure that if we are raising the consciousness that people should consume home products, they should be actually home products that they can consume that are even having a competitive quality with the foreign products. Because we are saying that, okay, today we don't want to be using foreign mobile phones again. Where is the company in Cameroon that is producing phones? Those are questions. There are some, because we can't just stamp it out. Because looking at where Israel started after the Second World War, we are aware that Israel was not almost existing, but they had to come back together. Started from somewhere, and when they started, I believe they were eating from somewhere to be living before they could grow their own power and start producing. Same with China. Why we are saying that we should keep consuming home products, we have to be strategically building our own industries. So much so that at one point in time we can completely, or maybe say 80%, 90%, push out these foreign companies, and then our people concentrate on consuming our own products. But as of now, we are still raising the awareness, because most of what we consume must still be coming from there.
Good evening, Mr. Leo. Most Africans suffer from inferiority complex. It starts from us giving our children the so-called English names instead of our beautiful African names. A country cannot produce everything, but should focus on producing those goods which give them greater competitive advantage when compared to other countries. Consuming local products increases the state's GDP and brings about positive growth. Tambe is writing from Kumba. Good evening, my media prime, and to all the great minds there. I think the government has a huge role to play in these particular issues, because if the government gives us subsidies, discourage foreign consumed products, and encourages our homemade products, then I think our country will change and the economy will boost. Suzanne, okay, Suzanne is a VIP winner. Good evening to you, Suzanne. Good evening to you all in the studio. Thanks you guys for this topic. Producing and consuming home products is very vital, because when we consume our home products, it serves as a motivation. Investors from outside, it creates more jobs, raises revenue. It's CEDRICK writing from Bello. Bello is in Boyo division. Yes, Boyo division, Bello subdivision. Good evening to you. Hello panelists, good evening. I'm Tata Elvis writing from Yaoundé. The importance of producing and consuming home products are enormous. Locally grown food creates important economic opportunities. This is true because we will make use of our labor, which will foster employment for nationals. It will enhance development on a small scale. Okay. Please, when you write, tell us where you're writing from. Also give us your name, please. Good evening, Mr. Leo. Most Africans suffer from inferiority complex. It starts from us. Okay. Good evening to you. Miss L, I hear you are online. Good evening, welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Leo. My voice is not good. Good evening to everybody.
Yes, some persons think that we don't value what we produce. We rather consume what is produced out of Cameroon, to some extent because of the inferiority, because of our inferiority complex. But some persons think that the government needs to do something also to encourage Cameroonians to consume what is produced in Cameroon.
Yes, Mr. Leo, it's true, but I think before the government is getting into it, we have a role to play. You know, you have to drive attention your way to be able to get support from people. If we want to get the government to support our own products by reducing taxes and some other things, we have to prove to them that we are willing to consume these products. So the problem stems, first of all, from us. And this is my belief system. I'll give an example. If I'm in the house right now and I have to cook, if I have to cook food and the food is in my house, it will help me I'll be able to organize the ingredients and know exactly what quantity I will use to cook. And when I'm done cooking, because it was cooked in my house, I will now know what quantity goes to the people who are in the house and what goes out. It's like what we used to do, what some homes used to do many years ago. Like some supposed to do that now. You prepare a good pot of soup and then remove the one that is still very thick for your husband or for your father. Then you have to add water after that to give to the children of strangers. That's exactly what is happening in our country. We are unable to have the best of the best because the people who are giving us these products are preparing it in their home countries and then selling the soup that has extra water in it for us to consume. And we are proving to the government that we are okay in consuming these leftover products that foreign countries are sending to us. And that is why, to them, they cannot put so much taxes on those products, because we are proving to them that that is what we love to consume. We are okay with white sending us mattress that they have used in the name of occasion products. We are okay with them sending shoes and clothes that people have worn, and we are consuming them. We are okay with using beauty products, skincare products that have been made based on the climatic condition of their countries. And so the government feels like, oh, the people of Cameroon are okay using those products, and so they cannot really put taxes on those products. But now, in Cameroon, we already shown them that we are not interested in these products. That is why it's difficult for them to put subsidies and other things that can help us consume homemade products. So the government has a role to play, yes, but we have to attach value to what we have. We have to attach value to the products that are made in Cameroon. Although personally, I have my issues with some of our products. I told somebody sometime that I have a problem with the way products in Cameroon are branded. It's difficult to get into a supermarket and then you see products lined up and your hand goes to a Cameroon-based product if you don't know that product before. Why? Because sometimes people are attracted, most consumers are attracted by beautiful products. They're attracted to beautiful products, the way it looks like. So when they get into the supermarket, they want to first of all pick the one that is looking very beautiful and very enticing without really getting the content. But Cameroon-based products sometimes have a problem with branding, and so it's difficult for us to want to get a hold of it if we don't know that product before. So the government has a role to play, yes. But what about us Cameroonians? What about us as the people in the house? Are we consuming this product? We're talking about same people who want to buy a rubbing oil from the supermarket that is a foreign product, and they will not bargain the price. But the moment they hear the rubbing oil was produced by their neighbor who just started producing rubbing oil, they will start bargaining the price. And we intend to grow. It's very risky. That's why we keep having leftovers in our country. Keep consuming the leftovers from what people have been able to consume already. And we have voted. The government has its role to play. I'm still on that. Yes, we know. The government, all those who are producing homemade products will say, oh, the taxes are too much. Oh, they are not encouraging us. But we have to start by making this government know that we want to consume these products. Let's pull our attention towards those products and be able to pull the attention of the government towards our consumption. And then they'll be able to help the producers to produce with less effort and less expenses.
Okay.
So that's my take on that.
Okay, Michelle. Now, Shirley, how do we understand that we send out hundreds of millions to Turkey, China, the US for dresses that could readily be produced in Cameroon? And imagine how much money would remain in Cameroon and then empower the local tellers.
So that's a good question, you know. So actually, like last year, we actually spent over 40 billion on what we call okrika, right? That's used dresses, you know, of which we have cotton in Cameroon, you know. So that also, I think, now, do we really have the machineries to actually convert this cotton into clothing? And now, how do we encourage these guys? So that's where I think we need to actually put our hands on deck. Because, for instance, these machineries are quite expensive for startups. And now, what I think is something that maybe we are not fully maximizing is the importance of partnership.
Okay.
So, for instance, I have a lot of colleagues, let me say, out there in the diaspora that are working, that they make substantial amounts, right? But maybe on my own, I cannot be able to get a machinery to convert this cotton into some textile, some material, something like that. But what if we start kind of like encouraging things like partnership, where 100 people can come together and put in 1 million francs and get a good machinery? And now, another thing that we also have to look at...
You call it crowdfunding?
Crowdfund, exactly, something like that. So because most of the times when you also look at those who want to start businesses in Cameroon, for instance, it's kind of like mostly sole proprietorships, right? Which is good, it's amazing, right? And they have very amazing ideas. But the thing is, when it comes to now kind of like industries like clothing, which requires more money, right, for us to get these machineries, we really need to be able to consider things like this crowdfunding.
Financially intensive investments.
Exactly, you know. And another thing that we also look at that, I think, because when you also talk with people in the diaspora or people that maybe sometimes have the money to invest, what they always complain about is trust. Like, okay, who do I trust to give my money to? But I remember once interviewing a guest, and he made a very relevant point. He told me that most of the times when people start talking about trust is because we don't put formal structures in place. We kind of want to give money to our brothers. You see, when somebody wants to construct a house or when somebody wants to start a business, the first thing you're thinking about is, oh, where's my brother? Where's my sister? But what if you kind of build like a formal organization where when these people come and put their money together, you put systems, you put controls in place, right? And another thing that I think maybe is a challenge also to us in Cameroon, right, is the fact that we have not yet come to a point where we are 100% able to kind of pay for services. We want to pay for the things that we see, right? Of which is true that most of these products, there's some products that are produced in Cameroon, maybe things like dresses, things like hair oil, we see them and it's easy to invest in them and it's easy to patronize them. But we have consultancy services that if you want to start a formal organization, for instance, like what you mentioned, Mr.
What Tex Global is doing.
Exactly. Now, but pay for the services, right? If for instance, you start this crowdfunding, you should also be conscious of the fact that you need to put money aside to pay consultants to actually help you in building these organizations. So these are some of the things that I think if we actually start kind of like looking into things like partnership, things like paying for intangible intangible goods, then we will actually be able to also kind of like encourage made in Cameroon.
Okay. Yes. I talked about dresses. You know, hundreds of millions are going out to Turkey. Yeah. You go to all the shops. They are proud to tell you that I buy the one of Turkey. You should come on Italy. Yes. How does it even sound that we are telling ourselves that this money you are giving me is going to Italy, this one is going to Turkey, this one is going to China?
Mr. Leo, that's what I'm saying, that, you know, Mr. Paul talked about inferiority. You talk about the fact that people are not even conscious about what they are doing. Because it must start from a point of awareness.
We have guys like what you are putting.
What
on,
I'm putting
I don't
on,
know who
it's done by Dingote Designs. That's the Hansen. He's in Ghana.
Okay, I have guys in Bomenda. There are some of them in Boya. Yeah. Then now, if you go around Bonamusali, most of them are coming up. You have a wonderful shop, and you go to Turkey, you spend 20 millions. Why not look at these guys and then give them the money to dress Cameroonians? I'm
telling you, like the guy who did my dress in the Hansen, if he does a dress, a suit, you see it, there is no way you can choose it over that of something imported. But now this is actually the challenge. If he charges 150,000 for his suit, a Cameroonian wants to pay 60,000, then, or as I will buy an imported suit for 300,000. So I started looking, but why is it so? It's first of all from a point that we are not willing to push these people to grow. Because it's like, you see somebody who is producing something of higher quality than what you're even importing. But in the long run, you still want to go for that which is imported. One thing is about, somebody says when you see people who use a lot of expensive things, it's like they have an inferiority complex and they want to actually step up. Because when you have a self-confidence, like the way Mr. Paul will showcase his MAFO designs, you will want to wear it. You actually feel the attachment to it. You feel like, oh, even if the dress is done here in Cameroon, he gives the value that you are wearing something that is coming from Turkey, you will not have this type of confidence. So actually, it's not what is expensive that actually matters. It's your mind about it. We need to come to a realization that we have to promote these things. It is our pride, it's our identity. And if we don't do that, we will keep on helping the Western countries, we'll keep on exporting money out of the country, and the effect, it will have nothing. Mr. Paul said something that why he joined the company Tex Global, it was because he said that even if nothing happens and this company reach a stage that Mr. Teke could put a street light somewhere, or because the company itself even pay taxes to the government, if the government can get these taxes and even put a street light, and tomorrow his child has to pass and benefit from it, he would think that he has actually achieved something. I said that is already a stage of maturity. But that's what is lacking. We are in a country where instead of us trying to see how these people can do the finishing better, you just nail it down, you talk down on people who are spending sleepless nights to solve a problem. I experienced something when Equatorial Guinea, somebody came to us and was asking the question, please, we really need help, because the government went as far as stopping ships that imported fresh food from Cameroon. At the sea, the food was thrown there. They took the national TV. They took the images and showed to the people that it is time for everybody to embrace agriculture. Everybody has to go back to the farms and do something so that this country can be actually self-reliant. This country can be able to solve its food security issue. What happened? Because they learned from the COVID-19, when goods were no longer moving, when you had a lockdown there for 3 months, global shipping was affected. That's when there was a consciousness that people started thinking that, hey, we had to do something. Look at the story of hand sanitizers, locally fabricated face masks. There are industries that sprung up at that time because you could not import from China. You could not, the food that if you were eating purely vegetable oil that is coming from maybe Switzerland, you realize that at the time you needed to cook. And the only solution was what is available here. People started using locally made products. That tells us that we can definitely do more. At that time, we had no choice to embrace them. However, there are some people that there is no way they have gone back again, because it sent a message and they tested this product and they realized that they were good. And that is where we are. We just need to increase our awareness. We need to increase our consciousness. Consciously support an entrepreneur. Let's just put it like, whatever happened, even if you're not going to switch completely, start supporting these young entrepreneurs around you.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I think it's high time we copy from countries like Ghana. It's all about enriching. It's all about enriching ourselves and preserving our culture, not the white man's way of life. Do not write in from Bamenda. Mr. LEANCINE is very handsome in his outfit, and I pray we come out from the assimilated suits and embrace our home fabrics. It's important we consume our products, okay? Good evening. Good evening, great minds. Thank you for such a great sensitive topic. Thank you all in the studio for leading by example, consuming homemade MAFO designs, while others are yet to accept that we are enough. Some of organizations and groups of persons like Tex Global, VIP Winner, MAFO Designs have chosen to study hard and keep improving every day to become the best. Petula B, MAFO Designs, Mabanda Bonaberry, I'm putting on MAFO Designs. Thank you very much, Petula, and we're glad to know that you're watching. Good evening, Mr. Leo. Thanks for your programs. One point is African is always at war, so they cannot do anything better. They are in their economy and raw. Okay, Andrew is writing from Ekondo City. Now, we are talking about dresses when you go everywhere. They're proud to tell you that these shoes are coming from Italy. This dress is coming from Turkey. I come out Turkey the other day, so I know if you joke with the price. Yeah, but let's look at the furniture. No, we're out of time. Let's take a let's take a short break. We're coming right back.
With DSTV English Bag, your subscription enters a new dimension.
It's so nice, it's so nice.
Movies, series, novellas, emotions are more deeper in English language.
That part is a little dramatic.
Enjoy La Liga from the front row and the Premier League in immersion. On Nickelodeon, English is just superpower absolute.
For the surprise, please go now.
With E and One Magic in original version, reality TV becomes real TV. And on African News and Discovery, News and Discovery shines worldwide. Post new programs with a DSTV English Pack option of Canal Plus and its 15 premium channels. Accessible as from 5,000 friends. Take advantage now.
Welcome back. You're watching Prime on My Media Prime. We are looking at the importance of producing and consuming what is made in Cameroon. Mr. NEBA, you have been to many offices around the country, many homes, and you see the amount of furniture that is imported from China, from Lebanon, and other places. Is it suggesting that what our local carpenters are producing in the biggest shops are not, the quality is not enough compared with what we are importing?
Mr. Leo, that's another well-played mastermind idea that's manifested, and we are living it unconsciously, and we sell it even to the upcoming ones. We are so proud to, say it that this one is from Turkey, this one is from Italy, and it's of good quality, and the one that comes from Bamenda is not the best. And the bad thing about this is that we have been brainwashed so much so that these people who present themselves like they are importing these stuffs out there, they go and buy from guys who do it so well here in Cameroon, go and sample it in those stores and sell them very expensive like they imported, and the guy who is doing it right in front of you is selling it maybe just 1/5 of the price where you go and buy it there and you will not buy. I don't know how I can put it, but it's something that we need to understand the bigger picture of this thing. Yes, if actually these things are coming over there, the good thing is that if you want, the bad part of it is that you want to look at why Cameroonians, Africans travel a lot is because they are going there to work. Why are they going there to work? Because these people are made in a way that we can't create what we consume, be it furniture, be it food, be it clothing, or whatsoever. So we now tend to think that we should go there, work in those industries, why those things are sent here, and they make the money from here and send back to those countries. Meanwhile, the local carpenter, the local furniture guy here, his only dream is to be able to raise money, be able to pay flight, and go to Dubai, or maybe hold some money on him and start trekking through the deserts or through Mexico to go to America. Why? Because the good furniture he's doing here is not appreciated. So that's the kind of picture we need to start looking and see the effects of our actions, our daily actions, and how it is affecting the Cameroonian economy, the African economy, and see how we can actually consciously change, from the way we do things, so that someday somehow our children will grow and they will not be finding you know, that pleasure, or maybe thinking that there's a paradise over there, and they can only have a better life in a white man country. Furnitures that are done here are so good, Mr. Leo. Like that which my good friend Mr. BUJI has in his house. We bought it and double. That guy fabricated it right there in front of us. If you go there, just because our friends believe that things from there come from overseas, things of that quality come from overseas. Usually when they come to the house, I was like, "Boy, this chair came from Turkey. The chair is super nice, man. Wow, man." Then later I was just say, "Okay, this chair was made here in double." Boy, you can't tell me that. Why? Because in the mind already it has been inscribed in the subconscious that nothing good can come from like from Israel or from Jerusalem as per the Bible. Mind you, so many guys are doing good quality here. See one funny thing. Most of the tables that we use here, most of the office tables, office furnitures, that's compacted sawdust. That's waste that's been compacted and then have some, you know, good finishing, and it's sent back to us here, and we buy it very expensive, and we are very, very happy that we are using imported stuff. Meanwhile, the real wood that we have here, of course, you know that the wood lives here to go there for them to use it and do their fine stuff and then compact the sawdust, which is waste to them, and send back to us, and we buy it very happy. Meanwhile, the guy beside your house who is doing it from real wood, that is from Cameroon right here, you will not buy it. Go to our offices and pour some water on those tables and see what will happen to it. But now the real things that are beside you, you are not buying it. Why? Because you think that it is not the best. I think the idea of whatsoever is the best is just an ideology. And I know that so many people are changing their ideologies as they are watching this program. It's very important. If we must emerge, I keep repeating that, if we must emerge, our consumption habits must change. And if they must change in favor of consuming home products.
Okay, in favor of consuming home products, this one says, Mr. KUM, we contribute in downfall of our home products. We design good clothes in Cameroon, but since we believe the best comes from abroad, we deceive our customers with foreign labels instead of our own trademarks. We need to accept and consume our home products. I sew dresses and label Paddy Brown designs on my clothes, but some of my colleagues will buy foreign labels and brandish it on the dresses which are made here in Bamenda, thus advising foreign fashion houses which do not even know us. Very wrong indeed. Paddy Brown, the best tailor in Bamenda town, somewhere around Foncha Street. Good evening to you, my man. Good evening. Send a suit now. Let me also showcase. Paddy Brown, send something so that I should showcase you. That is where you start now. Some of us need to endorse what you guys are doing. So, Paddy Brown, call me tomorrow and let me go to either Janot or Vatican or Mogamo to pick up a suit from there. Good evening, Mr. Leo, and to everyone in the studio. Thanks for the topic today. It's amazing and leads me towards my objective and goals. I'm Ayafo Emmanuel, writing from Texaco Foku in Bonaberi, Douala. Yeah, good evening to you. Good evening, Mr. Leo, and great minds in the panel. What I think are the main targets to this topic address is political leadership, the government, the mindset of the citizens. We don't trust ourselves. Education, how we communicate. The mind is the standard of a man. Political leadership has a big role to play. They discourage home consumption with dumping all warehouses in Cameroon. 99.9% are foreign products. Today, potatoes is fried in Douala. We call it French fry mindset. It's said there is plenty of room for traditional companies to innovate, and more efforts are needed to unleash the public's consumption potential. New measures is also include encouraging the merger of new technologies and business platforms, upgrading aging shopping centers, supporting trades-ins for household appliances, promoting with a focus on key areas and weak links of the national economy. Oops, very long. I'm Coach Kobe from Douala, VIP winner community, the marketplace of Africa economy. Good evening to you, Kobe. Good evening, Mr. Leo. And your panel, the program is so reaching. The most sad thing is locally produced ndop rice is more expensive than rice from China. Why? Clement is writing from Bamenda. Good evening in the studio. If our government has refused to consume homemade products, what of its citizens? What we produce in the country is more expensive than what we import. What do we expect of our brethren? Valuing and using our products is almost and directly related to price. Pazi Forel, also writing from Bamenda. Beshrine, writing from Yaoundé, says, good evening to everyone in the studio. Actually, some home products are really very nice, but how do you consume what you cannot afford? In a nutshell, you simply consume what you can afford. In this life, you know, fit kill yourself now. Okay, I don't know whether you are there. Miss L, are you there? Good evening once again. Do you understand what people are complaining about? They want to consume home-produced goods, but at times the prices are not really affordable for an average Cameroonian. How do we overcome this?
Okay, just clear that
Okay, we have issues with sound there. Shirley, did you get that? Many persons think that what we produce here is not affordable. Have you had that experience that you go to the market and you see what is produced in Cameroon is maybe 2 times the price of what is brought in from China, and people, since the economic conditions also for our country is not so good, people tend to want to get what is cheaper.
So I think they have a point. So we actually can look at it in 2 ways,
Okay.
right? So it's kind of like when you go into a museum and you see maybe something that is made with a hand, the price that you're expected to pay for that stuff is obviously supposed to be more expensive, because the number of things that somebody can produce by hand, actually, you know, you cannot take the, let me say, if I'll use maybe 24 hours to produce a dress, and another person uses maybe 2 hours to produce a dress. You don't expect me to sell the dress that maybe was produced, I used 24 hours to produce at the same price which somebody used 2 hours. But at the same time now, it also goes now back to machineries, you see. So if sometimes, so maybe things that we are actually producing by hand, is it because we feel like, okay, maybe it's an art, right? It's kind of like when you look at these Abamenda dresses that the ladies actually sew. So normally I'll buy those dresses because of like the arts in it. Like I buy it because kind of like I try to look at the story behind the dress, the production of the dress itself. So, but now it also has to do with education. It also has to do with, so as Paul mentioned before, it also has to do with kind of like, how do we think? Like our mindset. It also has to do with the mindset. Because when you're buying that kind of dress, it's more about the story. It's more about the art. It's more about what the person is thinking while producing that dress, right? But now there is a situation where, because I don't have the machineries, these things become more expensive. So you don't expect me now to go to the supermarket and I see something, a product that maybe it's kind of like the quality is the same, the branding is the same, and I see if the home product is produced for maybe 5,000 francs and I see a Chinese product which like has similar qualities and it's being sold for 2,000 francs. And you know the way our economy is, I won't obviously go for the one for 5,000. So I think there is kind of like, we need to also be able to distinguish exactly what is happening here when it comes to pricing. Because in pricing has a lot of aspects to it. It's kind of like, I remember also interviewing Tembe Ruth, and I was talking about pricing. I was like, okay, how do you price? Because some people, the location too. You see, somebody who is actually maybe has a store, maybe at the airport, you don't expect that person maybe to sell at the same price like somebody maybe who has a shop maybe in Bonaberry. Because the price at which the person, the price to rent space in that location is also different. So we need to actually be able to be educated enough to understand like the components that go in when it comes to price, okay? But at the same time, I really want to also be able to encourage us to to also kind of like invest back home. Because it's also when we actually start investing back home that some of these products can actually become cheaper. Because I see a lot of entrepreneurs, you know, with the Sharma show. So we see a lot of entrepreneurs. For instance, like the last edition of the show, there was this guy that has this incubator, the two of them. They've successfully produced this incubator. Like, this is an incubator that could produce a good number of chicks, right? But now they don't have the finances to be able to take this to another level. But these guys just need some backing. But now, who is there to actually back them up, right?
Tex Global is there.
Yeah, you know.
Tex Global is there.
Perfect, you know.
Awareness creation is very important.
Exactly.
Very, very important, because as Mr. Liu just said, there's Tex Breed, where Tex Global pushes some funds to startups which have scalable businesses, so that they can turn this money, grow these businesses, and pay them back to Tex Global. I think we are exercising, we are witnessing another era where young people are really pushing themselves to grow, and Tex Global is doing an amazing job. I must say kudos to Mr. Teke. And you keep mentioning the diaspora. I think that aspect is very important. We were discussing with one lady from the US the other day. I was with my mentor, Jonathan. He told that woman that, let me look at you in your eyes and tell you this. The African giant that's going to take Africa ahead is African diaspora. And they have been sleeping for so long and complaining. Time has come for you to take matters in your hands and risk it with the young entrepreneurs who are risking it here in Cameroon by risking your intellectual know-how and your resources to be able to push these entrepreneurs, because it is not easy out here. But if you are there, you have the resources, you have the intellectual know-how, and you keep saying that no, things are not going, it will never go. Because we must accept that the African diaspora is very rich in financial resources and intellectual resources, and if they can take it as, you know, as a conscious step to actually come in and look, hey, where can we fit in this economy to be able to support those who are on ground, who master how things are happening out here, so that they can grow businesses, so that we can grow in the standards where, okay, we can now be even proposing policies to the government that, okay, we are producing this and we can feed this number of people. Why don't you make policies so much so that this particular quantity of products are not coming in the country? Because we are talking about maybe the government putting policies, why there is no backing company that can provide the various products that you are asking the government. There's no possibility that can do that, because if they do that, we are obviously going to die. So the African diaspora is very, very powerful. And if you are watching us, I mean, today, as I said earlier, this program is my program. I've taken time to study how emerging economies, you know, the Israelis, the Chinese, how somehow some time ago they were really, the Dubai right here in front of us, how they managed to emerge. They did not totally push out, you know, foreign companies, but they systematically transfer technical know-how into their home citizens, and then with time they could now, you know, shoulder up with these foreign companies. And if Africa must grow, we have to do that. And now we have the diaspora. They should join hands with home entrepreneurs.
Talking about the diaspora, there is something that I noticed, because I have hundreds and thousands of them out there that I communicate with. I realized that there is this particular thing that actually shows them. Most of them leave Cameroon out of frustration. You understand? So when they are out there, often they are not looking, they don't have this positive mindset
about the country.
About the country. They don't see like, if you promote these things, this is how, in fact, this can stop my junior brother, this can stop my siblings from going through the very thing that I faced. Some of them, like, the government failed you, but definitely you're in a position where you can empower, you can definitely empower your family, you can empower the economy, you can empower your community to become that powerful. But instead, sometimes when you talk with them, they feel like maybe things have changed from 5 years ago, from 10 years ago. They still have that mindset that the left would hear, that things are still the way they used to be. We now have young persons who are actually thinking that at least they're understanding what a partnership looks like. In the yesteryears, they always look at it as it's an opportunity where we can also get money and you consume them and you keep quiet. But there are mechanisms. If you want to fund, you can go through organized platforms. For instance, TextBridge is open for partnerships whatever way. If you think you want to give your money where it can be accountable for, you can use organizations like that. There are many of them. There are startup incubators in Cameroon that you can definitely pass through them and empower these young persons. Not stick to the mind that, hey, young persons in Cameroon will only take your money and consume and do nothing about it. So we need to first of all be aware and know that at least it's better. Cameroon is evolving. Entrepreneurs we have people who are ready to partner with you and make good use of the resources. There are times that because you are in China, take time to educate. Don't just like, there are people here with wonderful ideas that are as powerful as the same people in the communities that they are there. But we are in a stage where we've talked with some people say, man, don't say that. This is how it's supposed to be. This is how it works. But you take the type of the white man's type of mindset. Sometimes I've actually got situations of, for instance, customer service. It's a thing that sometimes I feel like it's not actually a thing of the African, but the issue is that there's a way of which we can go about educating people. Not because you are in a country that has a lot of advanced services, that you know that at least if you treat someone that way, these consequences are here. There are times that these people would, even our entrepreneurs here, might ignorantly breach contracts and do things because they're not educated enough. But we need to be able to give some time and take it in an educative way. Not like you just challenge and you say, no, this is a thing that we have to give up on.
Okay, let me take a few. I don't know whether Miss L is there already. Miss L, are you back?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, Miss L, we are talking about investing in our home companies, because if we have to produce to the tune that can readily match foreign competition, we are talking about reduced price. We need to mass produce. How do we fund our local investors so that they can produce the quality and quantity that can readily meet the demands of our local market?
Okay, Mr. Leo, the first thing is, most of these our local producers, right, they get into production that they want to try the market. They don't get intentional about their production. That's one thing I've noticed. They want to just try, like, let me just try and see how it will go. And they don't get intentional. For you to get to the quality that you want, it has to be brought from a place of meeting a need. If you want to meet a need, I cannot be sick and you want to get me drugs and you're getting me what you are still trying to see if it will work. So a lot of our people are not intentional about what they are doing in the first place. We want to get them to produce us quality products, but they have to learn. Why do we consume from the people who are out there? Because these people, they do a lot of research. Cameroon is one country that I've seen that so many people are into production, but just a few of them understand the importance of having research on the production of the particular product and how they can be able to make it better. So to improve on the quality, my first call out to our local producers is that do this thing that they want to try the market. They should do it intentionally. They should get into production because they want to meet the need of the people in their country. If they get in with that mindset, the willingness to learn more will come in. And I think that we lack a lot of research institutes in the country. Now, we can find research institutes in agriculture, but it's difficult to actually find research institutes that have to, let's say, those who are into fashion, having little committees or communities rather, having little communities, organizations where they can come together and think on how they can be able to make their product go better. But now there is a lot of unhealthy competition. People are getting into competition that is driving their neighbors out of the market without necessarily still being able to produce the one with the right quality. Meaning, for them to start working on quality, we can go as little, start with baby steps, like having communities for the different products that we have. We go to the designers. The designers can have a little community where they gather and learn and talk together, like how the taxi drivers will work. I think the taxi drivers are the highest of persons who are very concerned about how they do their prices. It's difficult to get into a taxi driver's car and he's giving you this price, then you get another one, he's giving you another price. All these guys have the same price as the tax. If it's 200 francs from my 17 to Bunduma, it's 200 francs. And it's applicable for every taxi that you're going to get into, because there's a lot of a community-based type of communication that different arms that are into production in our country, they lack. So they have to build themselves in communities and see how they can get into research. And then earlier on, you spoke about prices. That's one problem we have. You can't price high for what does not give, does not demand high attention. It's high quality that puts high attention. And so you cannot be asking me to pay high for what does not meet the exact need that I have. And now one more thing is, some of these products have quality. Some of these products have quality, but like I earlier mentioned, the packaging is the problem. I could really see that this is good, but now I might not know what is inside until the thing that is outside has pulled my attention towards the product. You have to pull my attention towards the product first. And when you get my attention, I can be able to use your product, and it works. Now, sir, let me give us a practical case. There is this young company that I've been working with, and I happen to do a company registration, and I've been advising the CEO, doing a one-on-one consulting on how she could be able to work on her business. And now one time I told her, I said, I want to know how this your product is. So I said, produce one of your rubbing oil and give me to use. Produce your hair oil, produce your hair growth stimulant and give it to me. Your hair shampoo, just produce and give it to me. I wouldn't lie to you that when I used her rubbing oil was good on my skin. But I told her, I said, I don't love the fragrance. People are attracted to fragrance. But what you're producing is more of what you think is okay. But it's not you who is consuming what you're producing. It's some set of people who have a constant change in taste and fashion. So whatever you are doing is supposed to be for the people. And I told her, I said, work on the fragrance. You can't have me walking about with good skin tone, but smelling like someone who is applying granite oil on her body. And I told her to work on it. And trust me, she worked on it. And so far it has been good. And also when I used her hair growth stimulant, I told her your hair growth stimulant works. My sister said the same thing. But I told her, I said, look at the packaging. If I had seen this on the shelf in the supermarket, I couldn't have gone for this product because it doesn't look good. We are attracted by what we see. That's what consumers love. So quality is not just in terms of the content. It has to do a lot with the view, the container. So if we can build communities where we can be able to carry on research together, it will help us. Don't just get into these small classes. Now, what some people do is they get into these small training classes, like you go to a training program for 2 weeks, learn how to do shampoo or whatever. You learn how to do it. And then the next minute, you're producing your own local made products without doing further research. It's risky. It's risky. We have to work on our quality. And I mentioned that the easiest way to work on our quality is to first of all get intentional about the business and then build communities where we can go into joint ventures for research. Okay. We have to carry out research ventures.
Okay, Ms. L, we'll be getting back to you. Hello, Mr. Liu. I think we should consume homemade goods because these homemade goods are ready-made goods and not the cheap waste products imported from Oyibo country. Ama is writing from Abakwa, that's in Bomenda. Thank you very much. Good evening. Mr. Liu and the crew, thanks for always bringing up pertinent educational topics. Cameroonians need a mindset which will make them believe their brothers can produce quality products which are even better than imported products. They believe in products from Italy, Turkey, Japan, etc. It's time we believe and trust in products from Kumbo, Ndop, We, Idea, etc. Through these your programs, that mindset will be instilled in Cameroonians. This is Basil writing from Douala here. Good evening, Mr. Leo. Consuming our product is with little importance because they are expensive. A common eye banana is sold at 4 for 50 francs. A person preparing a meal of 1,000 francs, a meal for 1,000 francs would prefer a glass of rice for 100 francs to feed a large number of people and families. Senya Richard is writing from Douala. Yes, but at times I'm also taken aback. I am author of a literature book recently published in India in August this year. I would like to get in contact with any or all of the panelists, including Mr. KUM. I write in connection with the topic of the day. I'm Mr. Bate, writing from Boya. Mr. Bate, can you just call after the program so that we can, I don't know what you want us to do, eh? It's a literature stuff now. Good evening, Mr. Leo, and all those in the studio. Cameroonian producers need to get the spirit of oneness. They need to outgrow the traditional way of doing things, work on packaging, quality presentation, then go and for more educational research. I'm writing from Malabo. My name is Tatiana. Good evening to you, Tatiana. Hello, Mr. Leo. I strongly support the fact that we should consume homemade products ranging from music, films, clothes, shoes, because the only way we can grow is by lifting others and supporting us. If we can just start doing this now, we'll realize that in the next 5 years, our entrepreneurs will be able to bring in better technology for faster production, hence a very moderate price on products. Zoma Brita, writing from Douala. Good evening to you, Brita. Partnership is the worst thing to do when it comes to business. We are not honest when it comes with finances. Clement is writing from Bamenda. Good evening. We really have a very long way to go because there is never an enabling environment for us to produce, talk less of consuming. Okay, you're writing from Nigeria. Good evening to you. Good evening to you guys. I think the issue is twofold. Firstly, our government does not encourage creation of import substitution industries in our country, making it difficult to consume what we produce because most of what we produce are primary products that are exported to the Western world. Okay, I'm Ghana Gideon, writing from Bamenda. Stop calling, just send a text. We are going to read them out if time permits. Good evening, my media prime. Desmond from Bamenda. Talking about price is not that the product back here are expensive, because just an example, you go to the supermarket, buy banana for 100 francs, and when you see an old woman carrying the same banana, you want to take it for 75 francs. So just it's an issue of the mindset. Okay. Good evening, Mr. Leo. The reason why foreign goods are cheaper than home products goods is the most of these foreign companies are low-cost firms enjoying economies of scale, while home industries are mostly infant industries. A.P. Walters is writing from here. Now, Shilma. Yes, I want us to start looking at what it would take to boost the consumption of locally produced goods. Yes, let's turn the coin around. We say that Cameroonians are not consuming homemade goods, but the other way around, what should those that are producing here, what should they do to get Cameroonians trust first and then patronize? Should we take time to study what the Europeans, the Chinese, the Italians, the Turkish are doing so that we can also see how we can beat them?
Yes, sure. I think that's generally right. I am actually not somebody that will be like, because I've gone out of the country and I've come back, right? I kind of like try to encourage entrepreneurs back home. And one of the reasons why, let me say, I'm in Ghana, which may be kind of like, I can say the the startups in Ghana, maybe they are a little bit more advanced than the startups in Cameroon as of now, right? But the reason why I will come back and start in Cameroon most of the times is because I feel like when we go out there, it's our duty to study what the people are doing. Come back home and apply it. So generally, when I'm coming back to Cameroon, the most intriguing part is always like when you reach the airport. So it's kind of like you're in Ghana, right, at the airport, and everybody's smiling. Then suddenly you reach Cameroon, and as you're reaching the airport, everybody starts complaining. Then I'm like, but we all left the country like that. So how can we come back and we're complaining when we didn't come back to apply the same knowledge and make it better, you know? So I think it's our duty to actually go out there, study what the people are doing, understand exactly what they're doing. It's like what the Chinese do. What I, in my own opinion, what I see about the Chinese is that most of the times they basically replicate what the Americans do. And they now do it because of the labor force. They are able to produce, they're able to go in for mass production because of the labor force. So if we go out there and study the things that our brothers are doing out there, we come back home and try to put these resources in use, I think in one way or the other, we will actually be helping our economy. And another thing that I also want to look at is, sometimes I feel we are lazy. I'm sorry to say this, right? Some of us, I'm not saying everybody. Because when you look at the amount of rice that is actually imported, right, is it that, so I was just talking with somebody and I was like, is it that our soil cannot permit us to actually grow this rice in Cameroon? Or is it that we just really want to spend, we spent about 150 billion importing rice in 2020. So is it that we cannot produce this rice in Cameroon, or what's happening? So can we actually go to school, right, and know that it is okay to become farmers? Because when we go to school today, like the mindset is always like, okay, I want to go and get a job. But in most of the companies that I work for, basically, what are we doing? We actually buy and sell cocoa. So indirectly, are we not still the farmers that we kind of like, okay, we won't sit in the offices, but we need to actually be ready to dirty our hands, right, and actually encourage these guys. So, and I am also, for sure, not everybody can be a farmer. Not everybody can be a designer. Not everybody can, but let's be able to actually encourage the people that are doing this thing. And okay, another thing that I really admire, I'm sure we have to reference Ghana because I actually live there, it's branding. There are some things that, so for instance, when we go to Facebook, right, what do we write about the entrepreneurs back home? What are we promoting? So it's kind of like, Paul, you actually made mention, and most of the times you spend a time kind of like criticizing these guys, right? When you're criticizing them, what happens? That's exactly what you're showcasing. If you're criticizing the entrepreneurs back home and you're telling me all the time, if all what I hear as somebody who is working out of the country is the fact that, oh, in Cameroon, there is nobody you can trust. Oh, in Cameroon, I gave my money to this person and the person misused it, mishandled this business. How then do I actually build that confidence to come back home? But what about those success stories? Because, for instance, I just met, so I saw the images of one young guy. The guy is using foolery to produce wine. Like, this is an amazing concept. But where is it online? Where are the stories online, right? But if I go online, obviously, I'll see all the things that are not going well in Cameroon, right? So branding also, like the things that we actually showcase.
You hear about Tiwa Savage Newt.
Okay,
what destroys? That's what is celebrated.
That's the thing, you know. So I really think that we should actually start focusing. Let's get to work. Because sometimes we are also lazy. Let's not stay in bars, right? Like consume a lot of, consuming a lot of beer and so on. Let's get to work. And at the same time, let's also learn to encourage the people that are actually doing something on the ground.
Okay. Yes, she's raising an issue that I was going to ask you, Mr. LEANCINE, which has to do with branding. Ms. L also raised the issue. Is that our pitfall, or is that our weak point, where we work so much but we fail at that finishing point to brand ourselves, to be likable, make ourselves inviting for consumption?
Yes, Mr. Leo, I think we fell big time in that area of branding. We produce, and definitely at the end, when it comes to the final product, it doesn't look like what we have produced. If you look at it, and the issue is not that this branding is actually expensive. It's actually ignorance. You actually have to go for it. I saw the people who produced hand sanitizers, and then at the end of them, somebody bought one. I brought one as a sample for me. When I got the product, I look at it, I asked the lady, you know what? You can brand this product. What I'm going to do for you, I will put it on my status, and then if you brand it, I can advertise. Now she said, how do I do it? I said, but there are companies around that produce bottles. You just need to get here. We are in Douala at the industrial zone there. I don't know exactly where the place is, but somewhere at the industrial zone there, where the company is producing bottles of every type. What you need now is just to print your labels and put on it. And then that's the only thing I can help you I'll help you and sell. When she gave me that product, I put it on my status, my WhatsApp status. After about an hour, that lady sold for about 178,000. They said, like, wow. You need to see the level where she is now. That's how she started improving. But the issue is, you just bring the thing on a container that you picked around the quarter. And now someone is looking at it and, can this thing actually even kill James? They are looking at that this one can actually be the source of COVID itself. But it was well branded. So the issue was not actually the cost, but it was the ignorance that you had to brand. She also mentioned something, that most of these people, they don't want to actually even pay consultants. They don't want to consult people who know it. And at times, most of these consultants, they will actually understand with you that you are a startup, and they will charge you a fee that is moderate for you to go through. But the issue, you want to do it yourself. You go into production without doing a market research. There is nothing as painful as producing what the market doesn't need. Because when you get up, when you bring it up, nobody wants to buy it because you're not solving their problem. We have been saying here time and again that if you want to make money, start solving people's problems. But how do you solve problems? You cannot imagine that this person have this problem. You must do a research. You must talk with people to know what is their problem. And if you know that their problem, you can definitely put a solution that they will buy. So, Mr. Leo, if you're listening to us now, you need to understand, you need to give importance to how your product looks. The trending word for centuries has been dress the way you want to be addressed. So the way you present your product, that's the very way. You cannot say you're a fashion designer when people look at you. They don't understand. They'll start asking questions. See, you're like a juju designer. When people look at you, they cannot, it doesn't reflect, they don't feel it. They don't feel it. So the way you present your product, no matter how little you start, make sure that you pay attention to those little details. It's going to play a bigger one on us. Talking about, somebody actually mentioned something about Dub Rice. I was in Dub for over 9 years, so it's very easy for me to understand about the Dub Rice story and the rest. For instance, Dub Rice, if you eat Dub Rice and Chinese rice, automatically you feel the difference. However, the branding too had to play a role, and the improvement. For over the years, people still think about the one that they say, you want to know if a woman can cook well, you give her Dub Rice. But the story has changed. Definitely, there has been a wonderful improvement that the rice is almost, at least it already has the standard of what the Western rice have. But the issue is that people still have those negative information stored behind their minds, and they don't want to. But if you look at the two rice, in terms of the organic properties and a lot of things, a nutritionist will tell you that Dub Rice is far more better than the one coming from Thailand and China. But we don't know those things. And that might be a reason why the price is definitely higher than what is there, the quality, the way it was produced. So all these things play a role in us having the final product. But the issue is we must take a conscious action to be able to improve on what we are producing.
Okay. Are we not also consuming what we produce back home, Mr. NEBA? because we fail to do what others are doing. We consume Coca-Cola today because they do aggressive marketing and advertising. We consume brasseries products because they are constantly reminding us that you need me. Everywhere you go. But we spend a lot of money and we fail at the point of advertising. People see advertising as wasting money, yet they blame persons for not consuming what they produce.
This is this is a pain point to me. I think that's the reason why BUJI is laughing, because he knows that this is a battle that I've been having with young Cameroonians who are business people, because I'm a passionate marketer.
They can invest in any other thing. When they say pay this, they pay.
No, it becomes
pay this, they pay. When they say market and advertise, they don't have the money.
Mr. Leo, you bear with me that seated here, my Media Prime has a very huge audience. I mean, last weekend I was in Kumba. When I jumped down from the car, one lady came, hey, I'm so happy with what you guys do on TV. Now, for Cameroonian businesses to understand that since this place has attention, let me come and place my business there so that people will see and know that it's existing and consuming it. That's where the problem is. You understand? They don't see the importance of advertising. Two things will keep a business running. Two things: research and development and marketing. If you don't do these two things, forget about it, you don't have a business. And that's where many people are failed. You see somebody put a lot of resources. I mean, you see a structure constructed by a business, and you go there and you put a small invoice of 200,000, and you see how much the person is paying. You start wondering whether the person really knows what he or she is doing. And the bad thing is that person is looking at you and giving a small price for marketing and is expecting huge sales. That's I don't know, that's some kind of witchcraft that you want to do. Marketing is very important. There's no need reinventing the wheel. Let's learn from the masters themselves, the Coca-Colas, the MTNs and all that. You know, these guys, it's not as if they're not making profit. They're making a lot of sales, huge sales. But why? MTN will send you a message and still call to confirm that this guy is alive and he's using this phone. And this guy should not forget that I am existing in order not to go to my competitor. These guys, they don't do this thing it's not by error. It's because they know how it plays on our psychology and keep us glued to their products. At one point in time, Cameroonians go to the shop when they want to buy bottled water. They'll call a particular name, and when they say, okay, no, this is, they give them this one. They say, no, I want that one. Why? Because that particular bottled water was brand washed. You know, so much so that they only knew of that. If you must stay relevant, let me say this again to young people. It doesn't need much. It doesn't need much. If you must stay relevant in the marketplace, two things you must not ignore: research and development and marketing. Research and development, why? Because seasons change, fashion changes, taste changes, you know, a lot changes. Competitors step in, they emerge. If you can't do research and be able to modify your product, you will step out of the market. And then when you do this production, modification and all the like, and your customers and would-be customers are not informed about the existence of this product, I mean, it has no use at all. So your role after producing your product is make sure that you keep advertising so much so that those who are already consuming your product should stay glued to your product and keep creating awareness, you know, so that other people who don't even know about your product are actually being informed. Mind you, the whole structure, whatever kind of company, whatever business you're running, the whole structure depends on sales. If you are not selling, you're not able to pay workers, you're not able to pay rent, you're not able to pay taxes, you're not able to buy raw materials. And what makes sure that sales keep coming in after you have done your production is marketing. That's why the big corporations around, they don't joke. They do it online, they do it offline, they make sure they stay there in front of you, they make sure that they use billboards before you hit wrong point. You see one big light is shining, before you know they are there, you are seeing them. And then when it pops on in your mind that you should consume a product, you are going for theirs. You don't even know why. This is something that we must embrace. Sometimes we are consuming these foreign products not because they are really the best, but because you are drinking Coca-Cola with the perception of one guy who drank it on TV and made and you are drinking with that nostalgia. You know, you have that feeling of somebody you watch. I mean,
you want to belong.
You want to belong, but actually, in a real sense, maybe that product is not even the best in your system. Maybe you are not even having that. You are not deriving that satisfaction at a particular point in time. But because that image has been created in your mind, you have to keep consuming that product. So whatever marketing does is that they create an image in the mind. Since you know, people consume, people buy because of emotions. Now the emotions push them to buy. So marketing enhances those emotions. Some people are not gender biased. Some women buy dresses and reach home and they cannot go on them. Why?
Okay.
Because they were just prompted to buy that. So marketing is very important.
Good evening, Mr. Leo. The only home product that we consume very well is beer. If we can consume and cherish other products like the way we consume beer, then we will be encouraging our home companies. Just because a certain beer is promotion, you will need to see how people consume this beer. Just to win one free bottle, the beer companies are doing well in Cameroon. Alex is writing from Boya. Mr. Liu, I think you should organize seminars on the power of adverts in business. Okay, Text Global could do that here. I would like to plead with the government to assist young youth, send them on scholarships into emerging countries like China, Germany, America, Russia, Canada, etc. to go learn the technological know-how and then bring them back home to implement their year's training. Okay, Fruit Tatiana writing from Malabo. I don't know whether they'll come back here. Tatiana, yeah. Good evening, Mr. Liu. It's really sad that we are not promoting our home products. We need to encourage our home. Imagine a basket of tomatoes is 700 francs to 1,000 francs, almost 1,500 francs now. How would the farmers be encouraged to continue working? Conscience is writing from Mutengene. Very sad indeed. I really feel bad for that myself. Good evening, Mr. Leo, Mr. Buji, the Rekindler, and Miss Shirley. The Made in Africa brand is yet to conquer the national market and beyond due to poor visibility. And this can only change if entrepreneurs can boost production, processing, and marketing of our products. Pelagie Ndamsa from Douala, VIP winner communicator. How we made it in Africa. Good evening to you, Pelagie. Hope you one day come and join and also share what you know about the VIP winners. Okay. Good evening, Mr. KUM and Panalists. I'm glad to hear this type of topics popping up. I want to think that homemade products are much better and quality tested than imported goods. Let's look at this little example. Cameroon today imports 180,000 tons of fish yearly with high fatty level. Meanwhile, local production of fish is richer, but since there is little or no support, the fish produced at home tend to be expensive. KB's Limited has been trying to put up the agribusiness awareness just to promote our own, but yet the mindset of our people need to be rewritten. Wilson is writing from Bomenda. Good evening, Mr. Liu and team. I agree with you, Miss L. Cameroon have a big problem in packaging. They don't produce for the people but for themselves. When it's okay with them, they think it's okay for everyone without seeking few persons' consent. We are attracted by what we see. Perfectly said, Miss L. Kuku, VIP winner, communicator watching from Douala and Dogbong. Miss L, we are looking at, okay, similarly, Miss L is not there. Now, we are looking at branding, advertising. Do many persons actually produce goods and are chest pounding of having produced, but these things are not known to people because they don't know how to tell the people in Marwa, the people in Yaoundé that I have this quality to sell.
Yeah, that's so true. Because when I look at the products that I have seen with most of the entrepreneurs that we've been able to deal with, I wonder where are these products in the supermarket? I wonder where are these products on CV? You know, it's kind of like, even the other day we were talking, like where are the adverts, you know? But sometimes also, there's something also that maybe limits adverts also. You know, when there's a lot of monopoly. So if I know for sure that maybe my products, the competition that I have, right, is not very strong. So why will I actually bother to advertise? So now if we can be able to promote our own products and make sure that maybe the big guns that are already there are able to actually kind of like realize that we are there. So they become scared and they can now actually also start advertising. Because advertising is something that I want to advertise because I need somebody to know my product. But if everybody already knows my product and is already patronizing my product, then why do I advertise?
No, but Coca-Cola, almost everybody knows Coca-Cola. They spend every day. Everybody knows Guinness. They spend every day. Everybody knows MTN and Orange. It means that even as a young child, they start preparing you for the next 5-10 years to consume them.
Exactly. So that's the mindset that we have, which is actually not correct.
Okay.
Because now you actually need to continuously do this. Because if we time, right, it's kind of, we have seen products that actually thought in Cameroon that they were the only products in the market. And before you know it, one product comes up and these guys are almost like lost, and they now realize that, okay, we need to actually get into the game. Because the mindset has always been like, okay, if I'm the only guy in the market, why do I advertise? But if somebody comes up, but now what I really think is that we need to make sure that, because it's kind of like, so for instance, there are some facts that when you actually hear them a lot of the time, you start believing them, right? If you're in the house where maybe it's like with kids in the house where you kind of like, you're telling them, no, it's wrong to do this. But every time the kid sees you doing this thing, then what happens to that child? The child starts copying exactly what you're doing, right? Because that's what the child is used to saying. So it's the same thing with products. What I see all the time, what I hear about all the time, it builds an image in my mind. And as Paul, you rightly mentioned the other time, it's all about that illusion that you actually create in people, right? That it's very important, because I want to feel, sometimes, you know, like ladies, I just want to feel like a princess. And if you can make me understand that maybe if I wear your dress, I'll feel like a princess, why not? I go get your dress, right? Because I want to feel like a princess. If I see somebody like Eto, actually, let me say, using something, come on, I also go for that stuff, because I also feel like, wow, if I'm able to share in something, if somebody like Eto believes in something, then why not me? So I think we should actually really start branding our products. And you don't have to start when the product is like the best that it can be. You can always start, like, people also are interested in seeing how you grow. So for instance, you can start, let me say, kind of like you start a product today, and the product is not the best, but make them to understand where you are going to, and show them how this product is actually improving. Because people want to feel like they are part of the journey. You know, so don't just wait, because I understand also, like, at times it's difficult. You kind of feel like, oh, presently my product is with a very locally made package because I cannot afford. But start and make them understand where you're going to. You can even do a sample of where you want to go to. Like, this is my final product, this is where what I'm envisaging, but this is where I am. And you now show them the gradual growth. Okay. So I really think advertisement is just a very key factor.
Okay. Good evening to you all in the panel, Mr. Leo and the Paul. I greet, this is Crisco Fun from Severin Studios, VIP winner. I don't have much to say, but permit me to give a word of encouragement to you all for the change you people are bringing to the community as a whole. You know, most of all, this has not been given to us in school, but we received that from you people for free. Thank you, together with Thrive, okay? NEBA Paul is an amazing mentor, coaching over 400 plus members of a WhatsApp community to financial independence by creating homegrown startups with homegrown products, okay? Good evening to you. Why do you ask for, and you can't even bother to, oops, who is this, sorry? I don't think so. Greetings, Mr. Leo. We, the VIP winners, are enjoying the program, especially with this thought-provoking topic of today. Africa will be free the day Africans start producing what they consume. It's also important for us to come together in a bid to raise the capital we need to carry on large-scale industrial production. That's how we make it in Africa. Star Daddy writing. Good evening to you, Star Daddy. Good evening, Mr. Leo. Actually, we love consuming homemade goods, but the problem we face is the quality. They produce good quality, but after some months, they now produce low quality. Emil is writing from Yaoundé. Good evening, Mr. Leo. I'm Tangang Jute VIP. Winner following from Equatorial Guinea, Malabo. I just want to say big thanks to our mentor, Mr. Paul Azinwi, for the great job he's doing out there, and also to my great mentor, Mr. BUJI, and Miss L. You guys are doing a great job. I have been following you guys for a long time, and I'm enjoying the show. Please, never you guys stop this program, because this program is giving life to many Cameroonians out there. Thank you very much. Good evening, Mr. Liu. Our greatest problem is ourselves and our governance systems. On the part of the government, everything has been politicized. Subventions can't get to people who deserve them. The solution should start by law for our country and continent. Criticize constructively. Government can start empower gradually from sector to sector. I'm Akem Walters, watching from Yaoundé. Good evening, Mr. Liu. One of your speakers made mention of the fact that Tex Global is producing products. So my question is, what is this Tex Global producing in Cameroon? Samuel is writing from Yaoundé. Can you just call the numbers under your screen? I'm going to answer you. Wow, good evening to you all in the studio. What a great topic. I think gone should be the days when we admired foreign products than our own home products. The first people who should encourage home products is the government, because they are the first to fight or give heavy taxes to home producers. Need cosmetics, the best in cosmetics products in Bamenda. Good evening to you. Making someone consume more of your product has to do with the producer or entrepreneur alone. Before you produce a product, study the market and see what they want and produce just what they need, not what your dreams tell you. Okay? Bamenjo, the Godfather writing. We have to end here, unfortunately. Mr. BUJI, thank you for coming. Do you have a seminar, a workshop, or you are awarding another car this weekend?
Of course. It's been 5 years, Mr. Leo, and Tex Global will be celebrating her 5th anniversary in Mountain Hotel in Boya on the 20th of November. It's also an investor summit, and for those asking questions, I think that's the best place that you can come up. We are going to definitely talk with our investors. We will tell them how far we have gone, because at the field year, Tex Global is definitely getting into the transformation era. We realize that in the agricultural value chain, there is much money in transformation. It's not just about, so we should be getting to a stage where, like when I hear that farmers are selling their tomatoes for 1,500, it's very, very painful. So we are looking at how do we add value to these tomatoes. If we can transform it, if we can put it to tomato paste or tomato powder, that is what is going to change the story. So that's where we are. And so we're inviting everybody to show up on the 20th of November. Tickets are available at just 5,000 francs at our branch offices, so you can get a ticket and become part of this new movement.
Okay. We also want to thank you, Mr. NEBA, for coming.
Thank you, Mr. Leo. Thank you, our televiewers, especially the VIP winners community. Thank you for supporting. Thank you, Madam Shirley, for coming back to Cameroon to, of course, enhance entrepreneurship. We so much appreciate what you've been doing. Let's keep discussing this. It all starts from changing the mindset, and changing the mindset, discussing often will obviously influence our habits, and we'll start producing and consuming Africa.
Okay, thank you for coming too.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed the program. And I just want to say that also the Sherma Show, we are also having an event on the 30th, which is actually kind of like an entrepreneurial program where we encourage entrepreneurs by giving like a 1 million francs grant. So that's just our own way to push entrepreneurs, and you can come by. So the event is actually at Residence La Falaise on the 30th of October. We do this every 4 months.
Okay. Every 4 months you hand out 1 million?
Yes, every 4 months.
Maybe I should time my luck there.
yeah. So you actually have to compete for it, because we have like 10 contestants. So we select these entrepreneurs, people who have already started. So we don't want people who have just ideas. So people who have already started this, who have amazing
who tells
ideas.
You that I'm not doing something already?
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay.
You're welcome. We also provide training.
Miss L, we are glad to have had you today again. Miss L is not there. Thank you, Eli, for producing the show, and to you, Desmond. And to you, Tabby Tambe Bryant, who is supervising the work we do out here. And also to you, a lot of for our televiewers who always watch our Prime on My Media Prime. We want to wish you all a great weekend. Stay blessed. Bye-bye.
The secret of money making has just been revealed. Come and experience that phenomenon.